Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking a fascinating turn. We're moving beyond the tactical questions of the battlefield, and we're going straight into the very fabric of how the divine actually manifests existence.
It's a big step.
A huge step. We're launching into one of the most sublime and I think practical chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 10, often called Viduti Yoga.
The yoga of divine glories.
Exactly.
And, this is really the moment in the Gita where the abstract becomes concrete.
How so?
Well, after clearing up Arjuna's initial confusion and his fear, Krishna now addresses what is really the ultimate devotional question.
Which is?
How do we, with our limited senses, perceive the infinite in this, very finite world? It's a roadmap for constant spiritual practice.
In the source material we're looking at, it's essentially a private, powerful revelation. It's spoken directly from the divine to the devoted listener.
Right. Krishna says it himself. He says, this knowledge is being delivered for your welfare because you are dear to me.
So it's an act of grace before it's even a lesson.
Precisely. And our core mission for you, the listener, is not to just catalog all these glories.
Okay.
It's to extract the key insights that can fundamentally transform your everyday perception. We want to help you shift your perspective.
To turn the world from, a battlefield of forms?
Exactly. From a confusing mess of forms and problems into a constant, accessible revelation of the one spirit.
Okay, let's unpack this. We should start with a foundation, right? The sheer scale of the divine, which Krishna establishes immediately.
He does. In verses 2 and 3, he starts by explaining why we shouldn't rely on our highest intellect or even, the greatest cosmic beings to understand him.
So is his reasoning.
He just opens by saying that neither the great celestial beings, the devas, nor the great sages know his origin.
Oh, I know.
Because they are effects, and he is the ultimate, the beginningless cause. They are all, in a sense, born from him.
That's a critical point.
It's a huge philosophical move. It emphasizes that ultimate reality cannot be grasped just by intellectual assent or by relying on the wisdom of even the highest beings. They're also contained within the mystery.
That immediately puts the limitations of the human mind into sharp relief, doesn't it? We can't think our way to the source.
Precisely. And here is the profound insight that flows from that. In verse 3, it says, the one who truly grasps the divine as unborn, beginningless, the great Lord of the worlds, is immediately liberated.
Liberated from what?
From the bondage of karma. If you see the eternal truth beneath all the temporary change, then the temporary actions, the chains, they just lose their binding power.
Well, that concept alone is worth spending time on. If the biggest burden we carry is our past actions, then this is like a spiritual shortcut to freedom.
It is the ultimate perspective shift. But here is where that transcendence meets our messy reality.
Right, in verses 4 and 5.
You might expect the divine to be the source of only the high virtues, but Krishna lists everything, the whole human experience.
And I mean everything. The text lists intellect, wisdom, forgiveness, truth, nonviolence, all the good stuff. But then it also includes pleasure and pain, existence and non-existence, fear and fearlessness.
Not just the virtues, but the whole spectrum of duality. The Lord is the bedrock from which all diverse mental qualities and emotional states arise.
Hey, let me stop you there. This feels challenging. If the divine is the source of my wisdom, great. But if the divine is also the source of my pain, what does that actually mean for me?
That's the crucial question.
Does it absolve me of responsibility? Or does it demand I redefine what failure is?
It demands a radical redefinition. It doesn't absolve you. It elevates the stage you act on. The implication is that the divine isn't partial to our human constructs of virtue or vice.
For both pleasure and pain.
Both pleasure and pain, success and failure, they arise from his will for the soul's evolution. Our struggles, our perceived faults. When you look at them through this lens, they become necessary teachers.
So they're tools. Tools the divine uses to sculpt the soul.
Yes. Instead of being some cosmic judge who only deals in good, he's the source of the curriculum itself.
That's a complete spiritual democratization of experience.
Absolutely. And this comprehensive inner source connects seamlessly to the outer cosmic hierarchy.
In verse 6.
The 7 great sages like Marichi and Angeris and the ancient seers, the progenitors of mankind, they all emanate directly from this same divine mind.
So the foundational minds of all wisdom and all creation are just extensions of the original thought. It's not random.
Not at all. Creation is a manifestation of divine consciousness. It's structured, it's orderly. Every lineage of life and wisdom traces back to this one source.
And the point of knowing this isn't just academic, right? Verse 7 makes the goal very clear.
The goal is that this knowledge strengthens faith. It turns it into unshakable devotion.
So you start to feel the divine behind every phenomenon.
The light of the sun, the wisdom of a great teacher, even just the stability of the earth under your feet. That feeling is the key.
And that feeling moves us straight into the core statement of the entire Gita, doesn't it?
It does. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the source of all. For me, everything evolves. The truly wise, they don't waste energy seeking God elsewhere.
They see him in everything.
And behind everything.
So what does that look like in daily life? For the devotee, how do they actually function once they grasp this?
That's verse 9. Krishna describes them beautifully. Their minds and lives are fixed on the divine. They enlighten one another, talking of God, and they're ever content and rejoicing.
What's key there is that remembrance is no longer a chore.
It becomes effortless and natural. Their conversation itself becomes a form of worship.
That sounds incredibly peaceful, like a state where joy and devotion just feed off each other. But there's a beautiful intersection here where our human effort meets grace.
Yes, in verse 10, we put in the hard work of devotion.
And then the Lord steps in.
This is maybe the most encouraging part. To those who are steadfast, who worship with deep love, God grants buddhi yoga.
Let's pause on that term, buddhi yoga. For those of us who aren't scriptural experts, what is that?
It translates roughly as intuitive wisdom, or the yoga of intellect that leads to union. It's not knowledge you get from a book.
It's born of grace.
Yes, it's the divine becoming your guide, shortcutting the long, gradual learning process. It's the direct route.
So we commit, and then the path itself illuminates for us. What's that experience like? What happens during this inner miracle?
Well, in verse 11, Krishna explains that out of compassion, he becomes the inner teacher, dwelling in their hearts, and literally destroys the darkness of ignorance with the luminous lamp of knowledge.
So spiritual awakening is framed as a revelation, not just an achievement you can claim for yourself.
Exactly. It's a humbling thought.
Now, let's go back to Arjuna. He's standing there, hearing all of this, and he's completely transformed. He's not the doubtful warrior we saw earlier.
His shift is complete. He acknowledges Krishna as the supreme Brahman, confirming everything he's heard with the words of the great sages like Narada and Vyasa.
And his key affirmation is total surrender.
You alone know yourself by yourself. He finally accepts that human description can never encompass the reality.
But this conviction isn't passive. It leads immediately to the most practical and, I think, relatable question in the chapter.
Which is really the listener's question, right?
Exactly.
Arjuna is basically saying, okay, I get it. You are everything. Now, how do I actually see you constantly?
He needs anchor points, cues in the world.
How may I know you constantly? In what specific various forms should I think of you? It's a desire for lived awareness. He wants to make every moment a meditation.
Not just something he does at a specific time or place.
That's the significance. It's not curiosity. It's a deep longing. He even says, I am never satiated in hearing the nectar of your words. He needs the tools.
So we move from the transcendence to the immanence, the actual list, the vibhutis.
Right. And Krishna responds by saying, his manifestations are infinite, but he'll give the principal examples. The ones that serve as perfect, clear windows.
And the overarching principle, the whole list, is right there in verse 20.
I am the self seated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Every item on that list represents excellence or stability or power.
Let's get into some specifics, because this is where the chapter just comes alive.
Sure.
When we look for the divine in nature, the examples are striking. Among rivers, he is the sacred Ganga.
Symbolizing purification, sanctity. And among mountains, he is the Himalaya.
Which is perfect, because it represents unmoving, eternal stability, spiritual majesty.
When you see something unshakable, that's a spark of his glory.
He also manifests as abstract principles, which I find fascinating. Among all the sciences, he is the science of the self, Atma Vidya.
The superior knowledge, the one that liberates. And among secrets, he is silence.
Think about that. The greatest secret isn't something whispered, it's silence itself.
The space where the infinite speaks most clearly.
And he defines rhythm and order too. Among the Vedas, he's the Samaveda.
The hymns set to melody and harmony. It's not just the information, it's the harmony that reveals him.
And among words, the sacred syllable Om.
The primal vibration. And among letters, the letter A, the origin of all phonetic sound. This places the divine in the very act of speaking.
So the idea is that excellence is the signature of the divine. If something is perfectly ordered or supremely beautiful or powerfully consistent, that's a direct window.
And that applies to strength and justice, too. Among weapons, he's the thunderbolt, irresistible, focused power.
And among the formidable Rudras, he is Shankara.
Which represents not just destruction, but that profound, transforming power that clears the way for new life.
And he's the ultimate dispenser of law. Among judges, he is Yama, the Lord of Death.
Right, because death is the impartial, inexorable judge that ensures balance and consequence.
So the rod of discipline, the scepter, is also listed as his form.
Yes, it emphasizes that justice, even harsh justice, is a divine quality necessary for cosmic order. The whole list is a roadmap for remembrance.
So instead of just looking for God in a ritual, you look for the principle of discipline or the force of destruction or the harmony in a song.
And we see him in human excellence as well. Among warriors, Rama.
The ideal of virtue and discipline.
And most wonderfully, among the Pandavas, he includes Arjuna.
The ideal devotee who acts in faith even while struggling.
It's a remarkable endorsement. He also manifests as the nurturing forces, the feminine virtues, fame, prosperity, speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience.
All aspects of divine Shakti.
The power that sustains creation.
Okay, we have to address the paradoxes because this chapter doesn't shy away from uncomfortable truths.
It certainly doesn't.
He is time, Kala, the force that devours everything. But he's also the game of dice among deceivers. That seems counterintuitive.
It is the ultimate challenge to our dualistic thinking. Time Kala is relentless and impartial, so it's a perfect manifestation of a force you can't resist.
And the game of dice.
That symbolizes the mysterious, inescapable play of destiny. The cosmic Lila, where even deceit and chaos can be instruments of divine will.
So no power, no matter how negative or chaotic it seems to us, exists outside of his control.
Exactly. It prevents us from creating a separate, opposing evil force. It shows that the dualities we struggle with, virtue and vice, truth and deceit, are all contained within the vastness of the one.
And this all drives us to the majestic conclusion in verse 39. Krishna brings it all back to simplicity. He is the seed.
The latent essence within every single creature, moving or unmoving. If you remove the seed, the tree is gone.
Nothing exists independently of him.
Not for a fleeting moment. And the great takeaway here, the thing that encourages reverence over envy, is that whatever exists that is glorious or powerful, it is sprung from just a mere fraction of his splendor.
A spark of the divine fire.
Not the fire itself.
That immediately recontextualizes how we view success in others. Instead of feeling envious of someone's strength or intellect, you see it as a concentrated glimmer of the source that's also in you.
It transforms jealousy into recognition, and the ultimate purpose of this vast catalog is revealed in the final, majestic verse.
The grand finale.
Krishna asks, what need is there for all this detail? What more is there to say? The entire cosmos, all the galaxies, all the beings, all of history, is sustained by just a single fragment of his being.
An infinitesimal part.
The knowledge culminates not in enumeration, not in checking off a list, but in the silent awe of his immeasurable, overwhelming vastness.
So the goal of this deep dive is achieved. The transformation of perception is complete. We've moved from seeing a mountain or a river to seeing them as direct, accessible windows into the divine.
Every form, every force, every moment of chaos or calm is now sacred.
If we connect this all the way back to the beginning, when Krishna said that all mental states, including pain and fear, arise from the divine will for our evolution, then we are left with a powerful question.
A question that redefines our pursuit.
Go on.
What does this understanding do to our conventional definition of success or failure in our daily lives? If the divine uses both pleasure and pain to guide us, and if every outcome is just a necessary lesson, can we truly fail?
Or is every moment, regardless of how it seems, just another stepping stone?
A stepping stone demanding our surrender and our adoration.
It fundamentally changes the game from one of achievement to one of perception. That's a profound thought to mull over until our next deep dive.